we are going to be continuing the discussion about Burnout by Amelia Nagoski and Emily Nagoski. Did I pronounce the last name properly?
Pretty good. You'd have to ask them. Could be Nagoski, but
it could. It depends where I emphasize the syllables.
What does DMA mean? One of them's a PhD, and the other one has DMA after their name.
I will search.
Oh, didn't she have the
something with what music?
Was it her doctorate in musical arts or something?
Oh, maybe.
Yes, because she's a conductor.
All right. Has everyone finished reading the book? Where did we leave off?
I have not finished reading it, and I don't plan to.
Got it. Would you tell us more, Kim?
Well, that's why I was so certain about the 6 second things, because that's about as far as I got. And I've been doing it because I feel like I wish that I could make this book for my husband, because he is the one who is stressed to the point of burnout. And so I'm like, the least I can do is force him to kiss me for 6 seconds. So that's what we do now. And he's all like, what's happening? I'm like, we're completing your stress cycle.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't think you complete any stress cycles.
Ever.
I just don't like it. I just don't, I don't know if it's like, and I don't know. It's not.
You also don't really appreciate, in all the books we do, any book that has a tone of giving advice. You know, like you seem to like to be able to make up your, like, present me with things, let me walk away with, and don't give me a prescribed, do this, do that, do that. Would you say that's accurate?
Well, I don't know. I think it's more about the way that they tell the story is confusing to me. Like to all of a sudden randomly be talking about the fictional characters they're using to like deliver the message. I don't like that. You know what it is? It's not that I don't like books that tell me what to do. It's how they tell me what to do. Because remember that other book that was all question and answery? And then I'm like, you don't need to, you don't need to like fool me into coming along. Like, just tell me. I don't need a song and dance or whatever. But I find that confusing. I don't actually find it like insulting. I'm just like, wait, are these those people now? Like, what's happening? And then I think really, I don't relate. I don't feel burnt out. I feel like I can manage my stress really well. So like when I'm reading it, I just am like, yeah. It makes me feel judgy too. Because like when they're like, this is happening and that's happening. And I'm like, everyone's so stressed. Like I get so I'm like, I'm just not gonna read this because I don't
this book is stressing me out.
Yeah. Like I feel like, I guess, and this could be like I don't even know if I want to go so far as to say like a trauma response, but like a childhood whatever response. Like, oh yeah, I've seen a Facebook meme, so it must be true. But like hyper independence is a trauma response too. And so I feel like it's related to that with me. Like it makes me want people to be more responsible for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm like, I'm responsible. I don't let myself get to that point or whatever. Right. Like, so it makes me think like that, which may or may not be healthy or whatever, but like, those are my personal experiences. So I just don't want to read about it because it brings out all of those things in me where I get like judgy or like mad at people for having stress, like, or whatever. So,
oh, wow.
For
not like managing their business.
Yeah. Just like manage your business. Like, totally.
Well, that's one thing I've really admired about you for so many years, because I really only feel like personally I've given myself the intention of doing like some inner work. Like, come on, Kara, shed the effing victim mentality. How can you step up? What does that look like? Whereas you have since your 20s, you're very good at like naming things, you know, and just sharing like, oh no, this is how I feel. And you're okay to lean in areas where it could lead to conflict, but it's important for you to voice your opinion. You have been doing those practices for a very long time.
You're so nice to me.
It's just a quality that I admire. I see it in you. I see it a lot in Lindsay. You're just, I don't know, people tend to be fascinated sometimes by things that are opposite to them. So you, and I notice it in Lindsay as well, is you're like, no, it is worth it to be able to speak my mind even if another person, if it's not their same opinion, right? Whereas I'd be like, no, I better shut up right now. I don't want to name anything.
Thank you. I will also let you know that I do some shutting up sometimes. So it's not all the time like full perfection. There's definitely some shutting up where I'm like, I should say something. I don't even bother. Like whatever.
Yeah, sometimes you're just like, this is not worth my effort.
Yeah. Or like, why am I
out
saying
of this conversation?
Am I just doing it to like be opposite, or is it helpful to like, yeah, so it can be too much of a good thing, I guess.
I have a clear memory of giving an opinion that I didn't have because I was annoyed by the person. I'd be like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I don't like that car. I don't like the way it looks or whatever. Somebody's like, that's a whatever car. And I was like, yeah, it's a beautiful car, but that guy was pissing me off. He just got a new car that he spent a lot of money on. I was like, I think it's kind of ugly. You know.
Your car is
sorry.
lame.
I just opened a club soda. It was very loud. I'm so sorry, Kisira.
It'll underline your point. It's like a burn, right? You're like, I don't like your car. That probably was worse, what I just did. So sorry, listeners.
Book interrupted. Puppy interruption. The puppies were born. Here's the first picture that we got of the puppies. They're so small. Let me see if I can get you some more. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Anyway, we'll be getting one of these. Book interrupted. The thing that you said that like maybe like your partner needs this book more because they're like more stressed. Like this book is not for men, right?
I know.
Oh my God. If they said patriarchy one more time.
Well, it's for women who really try to fit into a very narrow like definition of what a woman is in society. So if you're not that person, this book isn't for you. Yeah. And you'll do a lot of eye rolling. As I was reading the book, I was like, Dan, I can't read this book. And I was like, and later I'd be like, I can read this book. I'm going to finish this book because I want to finish all the books. That's just like who I am. I'd like to finish a book, even if I like try to power through it. And then they say something else. And there's a lot of things in there that I agree with. Like they're giving stuff out and you're like, yes, that's a valid point. And then they say something that just gives me that icky, like, ugh, like I can't, right? Like that was my like reaction to the book. Like
the patriarchy.
I'm okay with them being like patriarchy is
all
a thing.
the time.
You know what they do is they talk about the patriarchy and its effect on women expectations, and then they'll say something that is like playing the role that the patriarchy is expecting you to. So it almost like negates their message. So like, and like I did this in my personal journal, one of them, but when they're talking about working with this sound engineer or whatever, and he was highly respected and they're excited to go work with him. And it doesn't help that he was a cutie patootie. I was like, that like, you know, I was like, can't you just be excited to work with this guy who's, you know, good in his field and like, it's a good opportunity. Does he also have to be dreamy? Like, you know, and then they're like, and he's dreamy. And I was like, who, like, this isn't, I couldn't relate to those.
Well, it's funny because that like undermines it undermines
it completely undermines
the treat us seriously. And you know, like
yeah. Anyway, so there was a lot
there was another one.
It was insulting too to men that are not fitting into the patriarchy.
Yeah, that aren't jerks.
You know, I don't know.
There was another part of the book that was similar. So when they talked about active rest, I thought that was great. People need to learn active rest, and it's not just about sleep. But then they mentioned, one of the authors, that she was doing her job as a music conductor and then writing this book and then also writing a fiction book at the same time. And that was her active rest. And I was like, no, that's the
just
problem.
active.
Right? I think something not productive would probably actually be more restful. But it was like they were reinforcing the thing that the beginning of the book was trying to unravel. So Meredith, I saw those little things too where I'm like, no. But for the most part though, I thought this book, I don't need it now. Like Kim, I'm like, I'm not at a place right now. But 5 or 6 years ago, I could have really used this book. I would have used it because I was super stressed. I was in the corporate world and all those, there's tons of little scenarios that happen in the book that I can relate to directly. like directly happened to me. So I could see if you're in that situation, reading this book could be like you said, Kim, maybe I just need to go home and kiss my husband a lot or something as soon as I get home, because there was those kind of stresses that add to the regular everyday stress. But they did mention the patriarchy. Like, I liked that they mentioned it in the beginning. And I mentioned that in my first personal journal. I like that they mentioned in the beginning, but by the end of the book, you're like, okay, I know you can't talk about stress, women's stress, without talking about the patriarchy, which I agree with, but not the whole book.
And every time they wrote it, they wrote -UGH, right? Every single time that word shows up.
Single time.
We get it. You could said that once and we would have got it for the rest of the book.
Totally.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it as an audiobook, they read it out that way.
Oh yeah.
So every single time they go,
that's funny.
The patriarchy. Pause. Oh,
also
every time. And you're like, I get it.
And they also add music to the book, the audiobook, that cheeses some sections up quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the comedic value and the cheese factor on this one was a little bit more, but overall I liked the book.
Yeah. I did too. I like the
message, and I like the stories of the two women, Julie and Sophia. A lot. Like, I was like, then what happened? And then what happened? Like, does she end up divorced, or does this one end up running the Star Trek convention, whatever? But but
I like the Star Trek.
I like that part, and I'm super duper burnt out, and I'm just like, I'm grabbing at anything. Any advice is good advice right now, because I'm just like trying to complete my stress cycles all over the place and really rest, unapologetically rest, and then maybe rest some more. So it was good timing on the book for me.
That's the thing. The book's got some good stuff. Like, before kids, and we should probably start doing this again, but before kids, when my husband and I came home from work, we would cuddle. We'd go and cuddle, like lie down and cuddle and talk about our day. And it was so nice. And when you read this book, you're like, oh yeah, that really helped, like you having the physical contact where you're like kind of talking about your day. It really just like was great. And he's like, yeah, we should start doing that. And then when I read the book about like, long kissing and stuff, like, this is great, we should make out all the time. He's like, I'm game. So it's great. But it does have some helpful stuff. That's the thing. But I couldn't finish the book. So I like how they have at the end, like, here's the summary. But I was reading one of the summaries of the chapter I didn't read. And I was like, that summary means nothing to me because I didn't read the chapter. Right? I was like, I don't know what the Madwoman is. But all the stuff I couldn't relate to.
No, but it kind of summed it all up in that bit.
Yeah.
You can kind of, it infers like the Madwoman in the attic is, you can kind of figure that out.
The Madwoman in the attic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like who is your Madwoman in the attic?
It's a Sally.
The meanie.
Who's your Sally? It's like Sally. It's a Jane Eyre reference, but it's about your Sally or your, what was yours again? Liza.
Oh yeah. I got a few cuckoos up in the.
Is it the
negative self?
But yeah, it was about the
voice that.
The idea of
negatively.
Is it telling you that you're lame, or is it telling you that you're mad at your husband?
No, it's telling you that
it's telling you you're lame.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
Can't
not
relate.
You're so stupid or whatever.
I only have one that tells me I'm mad at my husband.
Telling you you're a dum-dum.
Hey, dum-dum.
If you've enjoyed these video highlights, listen to the full episode on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to like and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when new episodes are published. Find out more by going to www.bookinterrupted.com.
Never forget, every child matters.